Hi there, hey, it's Jen Arkfeld for Stamp Silly, and I'm back today with a Manic Monday card, and we're going to hop right into this. I'm going to start out with a piece of Island Indigo cardstock, and this should measure 4 by 5 1/4. And we're going to ink this up with the hardwood stamp set. And you know what I do here is I just leave my large stamp like this right in the case, and then once I'm done I clean it with a just a wet wipe or a wet paper towel or something. You can even squirt it with your stamp cleaner and then take the paper towel over it to wipe it off. But I find that it's easier than mounting it to a large piece of or to a large clear block. This just seems to be working better for me. So I just press my cardstock into the paper, and you can take your bone folder and just use it like a squeegee and go across it. You may need to clean your bone folder off when you're done, but it works quite well. So you get an inked image like this, and then like I said, just clean that off when you're done. So I have this, and now we're going to make this just a little bit more feminine. This is great for a man card right here, but I'm going to take the flowers from Kind and Cozy, and we are going to stamp those in Whisper White right over the top. Okay. So I'm just inking this up. I did just re-ink my ink pad, so it's pretty white. But I'm going to stamp some flowers all over. And you know what? Before I re-ink, I'm going to stamp it off because I don't want any of that blue ink to transfer into my white pad. So you may notice that I'm stamping that off. Sometimes your white ink pads will get really grungy looking, and that is why. It's just because it's transferring ink. Okay, so we're just randomly stamping these. Oops. And let's see here. I want a few to go off the edge so that we'll see those when the card is done. But a lot of these will get covered up by what we're doing here, so that looks pretty good. You know, you could add more or less depending on your unique style. Okay, so we have that, and let's set that aside. That Whisper White craft ink tends to take a little bit to dry, so I'm just going to set that aside for now, and we're going to do the rest of our card. So I just have a scrap of Whisper White cardstock, and I'm going to stamp the I call it the ring from Kind and Cozy. We're going to work mainly on that stamp set today. And I'm going to use Pool Party ink for that. I'm going to ink that up really good. And we'll stamp that. Okay. And then I'm going to take the sentiment from that same stamp set, Kind and Cozy. I'm going to take the Thinking of You, and we're going to ink that up in Calypso Coral. And this should fit right in the center of this, just a little. Pretty good, yep. Alright, so we'll set those aside, and this punches out perfectly with your 2.5 inch circle punch. So I'm just going to line this up in here. Okay, good enough. Voila. Alright, so we just have that, and I'm also going to use a card base of Pool Party. And so this is just cut the long way, so 4 1/4 by 11, and then scored it 5 1/2. Okay, and this is going to be dry enough, I believe. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere that down. Okay, that looks good. And then, you know what, I had a scrap of this, it's Chris Cantaloupe pattern, and it's from the Birthday Basics. And you know what, I'm going to take a larger circle punch, so this one was 1 3/8, and I'm just going to set the edge of my paper into the punch so that I can get a wide circle or corner rounder out of that. That'll kind of mimic what we've got going on with our circle here. And this is just going to attach to our card front right there. You know what, it could have gone all the way across the card, but because it's, you know what, it's seriously just a scrap that I had laying on my table, and I thought, oh, I can make that work. So that's why when I use the corner rounder, or the circle punch actually, I think it helps unify the entire card. Okay, now we need some ribbon. Let's use this. This is laying here. Okay. So let's attach this ribbon here. I'm actually going to notch out an area on this card so that it doesn't, so that the ribbon doesn't interfere with the, I guess, what am I trying to say? I don't know. It's Monday. I'm going to tie that up with a button, and your button won't fit inside your envelope. There's what I'm trying to say. Your button won't fit inside your envelope if it's hanging out over the edge of your card. So if you just create a notch there, it will, the button will go in the envelope. So these are the buttons that are designer, very vintage buttons. So this will work here. I'm going to use some snail across this, like so. Okay, and then you know what, if you flip your card open, then I like to adhere my ribbon down just so that it doesn't get flappy when you mail your card out. Alright, so trim these back just a little bit, and then we're going to tie that button on right there. So I've just got, this is just some linen thread, and we'll thread our button, hopefully. I love the look of this linen thread, and actually this printed burlap ribbon looks awesome, I think, with this card, because we've got that wood grain gives it some rough texture, and the flowers soften it up. The burlap ties in that rough texture, and the vintage button adds back to that soft look. So I think this card is really going to work well. Okay, so we'll tie this in a bow. Like so, and then we can trim these back just a little bit. There we go. Looks good. Okay, now all we need to do is just add that sentiment, and for that I'm just going to stick that on with some Stampin' Dimensionals. And I don't know if you can see that. I'm placing them where the ribbon will not touch, because that ribbon will kind of help hold those up also. Okay, so we'll get these off. Oops. And I'll throw this on here. Whoopsie. And there we have it, people. We have got a awesome card today. I just love this. It's got some good trends with the chevron ribbon, and I love the flowers against the blue wood grain from the hardwood stamp set. I just think it really adds a nice vintage look to the whole thing. So I hope you enjoyed today's session of Manic Monday, and we will catch you next week.